Hi, I'm going to share my screen here. So last year we had this Lausanne Long Conference, Black Women Intellectual Contributions to the Americas, and Sueli Carneiro, a Black Brazilian intellectual and philosopher, said that if she could advise the future generation of activists, it would be about the importance of self-care. She mentioned brilliant Black activists and scholars who died prematurely because they were so absorbed in activism and work that they didn't take care of themselves. It resonated with me so hard because I used to discuss with my friends how necessary and challenging it is to practice self-care, especially in activism and academia. We did not know at that time that we would be tested, and less than 1 month later, we were in lockdown, threatened by a deadly virus. I remember I feared about myself, of course, my family and friends, and about my country, Brazil, once I knew that it would be devastating for poor Black communities as it was here, as the pandemic was virtualized. Sueli Carneiro explained to us that for who is in activism in the front lines, the care of the self takes place for these subjects in the care of other, whose liberation is the aesthetics of their existence. So usually social activists, they focus so much in the other, in their communities that, and in their struggle, in the fighting, that they forget to take care of themselves. And in this conference, she's claimed that, oh, you must take care of your minds, bodies, and to live beyond only to survive. So when the first COVID-19 cases emerged in Brazil, a group of social activists in Complexo do Alemão, it's a group of poor communities in Rio de Janeiro, they start to inform people about the virus risk. They start like buying cleaning supplies to the community health clinic. And as the demand, as they were asking, people would start asking for food. They start later distributing basic needs, grocery, cleaning, and hygiene supplies. And during this time, the work of two women called my attention, especially Black women that were working in the front lines. They mapped the community. They knew the most vulnerable places and people, and prepared logistics to distribute donations, while at the same time they mediated conflicts, they coping against police brutality, and load and unload trucks and carry packages. And I think it's important to highlight how big this complex is. So it is like 1.14 square mile area. There is like 5 neighborhoods, and they could map all of this community towards helping people. And I noticed while I was following their work, I noticed that they often complain on social media about how people mistreat them, expecting them to supply everybody as the state should do. They report that the police opened fire against their truck because they believed it was like with criminals inside. And of course, they often mention being tired or exhausted, sometimes without sleeping for 48 hours or more, and being exposed to a pandemic. So one of these women that, while I was trying to schedule an interview with them, Sueli Carneiro words came again to my mind. Are they taking care of themselves because they are exposed to the virus? Who are or anyone else is doing it, who takes care of caretakers? In these communities, motherhood, does anyone take care of the mother? And when I'm talking about the mother here, I come to Cynthia Derry-Oka concept of revolutionary mothering, because she explained exactly what these women do in their communities. So mother is a primary front in this struggle, the social rights, well-being, not as a biological function, but as a social practice. And because it is also a social practice, it's literally priceless. They aren't paid for the work. And in this case, and many others that I'm following and I can observe, they are also undervalued. So they are the ones that plan the logistics, that map the community, that talk to people, talk to women. But who, if you type like the group organization, you're going to see the men they are working with them and not them. So you know the men's names, what they do. They have more opportunities to travel, to ask for donation, while they are like often invisibilized outside the community, because inside the community they are often they are constantly being asked and pushed to do more. So my initial idea was to bring two important women in this favela movement, but as I wouldn't have much time, I will present Camila Santos. So Camila is a housing activist, founding of the organizations Mulheres em Ação no Alemão, Women in Action in Alemão. It's an informal organization that seeks to promote and empower women. Through partnerships, they offer education, healthcare, legal documents, food distribution, among others. Last year, they were assisting and monitoring 200 families, and after the pandemic, it was 600, and this number is growing as in Brazil, we are facing the third wave of the pandemic. So she explained to me that she came from a social movements family, but she only got involved 10 years ago when the state demolished her house, promising to build affordable housing for her and her neighborhoods, which never happened. So she started organizing the affected families toward asking for a better place to live. And while she was doing that, she noticed that most households there were led by women. That brought her more demands, which made her found her women organization. And if you ask her, oh, is it a feminist activism? She will say no, because it's something that it's something that she feels compelled to do, because she sees how people are not living, surviving, as you can see in this picture that she says that housing is a good housing is a right. So, and those people that are like those houses made by wood doesn't represent someone that could live and properly. So in the beginning of the pandemic, with the lockdown, those women that Camila was working with, they lost her income, their kids were out of school and faced accentuated poverty. So she decided to call two more organizations that act in the same complex to in joint action help mitigating the pandemic effects. In 6 months, in 6 months with 22 volunteers, they could help more than 54,000 people in the favelas. So Camila was one of the leading minds to think about the actions, and with other Black women did a fantastic job, as I already said, about mapping, logistics, and they were like receptive to people in need. She joked that she had a bachelor degree in favelas, and now she has a doctorate after the pandemic. As some doctors and future doctors, when obtaining their degree, says that Camila is also traumatized. She admitted not telling, she's not able to tell what she saw, what she heard, what she lived during those 6 months. Although being born and living in this group of favelas, she confessed she had no idea about how many people were in extreme poverty. She also mentioned the only thing she could tell me about what she saw was these Black women kneeling and being thankful for eating a complete meal that she couldn't eat in months. So in connecting with those women and not only feed them, but helping them to know their rights and fighting for them, Camila practiced what Keisha Campari says about a grounding movement. So in this text, The Grounding with My Sister, Keisha Campari quotes Walter Rodney and substitutes the brothers to sisters to highlight the significance of understanding the grounding with other women and how these grounding roles, the roles of women play in Black liberation struggles. So many scholars as Lélia Gonzalez, Sueli Carneiro, and others, they highlight the importance of a Black women movement towards fighting against racism and consequently inequalities and poverty. Even without naming it as an emancipation and feminist movement, she believes that she can be a bridge in those women's lives, and she wants to share what she knows about civil rights and how to access public mechanisms towards like fighting and getting something to improve their lives. So as a single mother of 3, she takes their 3 kids to her actions, including talking and these women associates and protesting against police brutality. So these 2 pictures, this little girl, she's carrying this poster saying "Save Black Children." It was after 1 more children murdered in their complex of favelas in Complexo do Alemão. So from only during the pandemic, approximately 10 kids were killed in Rio de Janeiro by the police. So they were protesting, and she says that she often, as she doesn't have anyone to leave her children, she takes them to the protest. And her younger son, he's with her like day by day, like as we can see in this middle picture. So I asked her, because I think I was too, even with all of this, I was too naive because I thought that maybe she had like something to anchor, or she had a web to take care of her too, as I saw other activists having. But she says that she seeks for rest and connection with her kids, that she isolates with her children at home and turns her cell phone on. And this is how she rests. Her joy during the pandemic was to attend her favorite artist performance, performing in the favela. And she said, "Oh, I dream with the possibility of being able to have like 1 week outside of the favela with my kids in another place that I would be fully able to disconnect and rest." But although she admits having mental issues, and she has like this memory block, and she's still resistant in talking about her previous experience, she doesn't look for any medical or therapy resource. And at the same, she says that she anchors in her children and in her ancestrality. But she also said that she doesn't know for how long she will be able to handle and keep working the way she is, because it's exhausting. Again, Sueli Carneiro's words pop up in my mind. She needs help. Our whole community needs help now more than last year, because Brazil is facing the third and most lethal wave, like 3,000 deaths a day. So to don't let this presentation be too dark or pessimist, I read Lélia Gonzalez proposing an Afro-Latin American feminist, because we all face similar struggles, and in a more a broad approach, Carol Davis grounding when she claims international solidarity between women of color. So to trace and brainstorm strategies, even to relax or comfort, because these women should know that they are not alone, that they can have like more resources. So Camila organization, for example, it's not regulated. They cannot apply for financial aid. So I'm trying to think about, to brainstorm some kind of mutual ads, international ads for them. And because most of all, those women need tools to start imagine and experience well-being, because for now it's just in their imaginary. So thank you.